What's up again, everybody? Man, it's been a long time since I've done one of these, so forgive me if I'm rusty. I'm going to go ahead and go first here. If you don't know what team I'm playing the Jubilee combo team. I'm rolling 3. I'm playing in a tournament that is online as well. This is more of a fun, casual tournament. I think it's like the holiday tournament. Going to get a sidekick and 2 energy. Going to field the sidekick, and with this 2 energy, we are going to pay and buy a Jubilee. The option there would be to spin that sidekick to a bolt and do nothing because I didn't have a mask. Here's my opponent's team. It is made up of a ton of different pieces that center around a tune or deal damage based on playing actions. So the common Yuan-Ti Pure Blood has a tune, and it also deals damage or becomes unblockable and can go in for unblockable damage when you use a basic action die. Pseudo Dragon triggers off of the Yuan-Ti and gives you a dice that you get to roll. Boom Boom triggers off of the use of action dice. Speaking of action dice, we have Green Devil Mask and Cosmic Cube on the team. This is not the rare cube. This is the uncommon cube that allows you to buy action dice cheaper. And looking over at his basic actions, those are the ones that he's going to buy, and clearly he's going to buy True Believer and Holy Avenger, pop them onto Yuan-Ti Pure Blood, be able to push with her for unblockable damage, and every time he uses one of those, he's going to be able to ping for 1. He's also on here got Captain America Chemistry Project, which is a really cool uncommon that you could definitely build around. I think it's its own win condition, so maybe that's a secondary on here as a win condition. Kitty Pride's also a secondary win condition, and we have the White Tiger Global. I'm not sure why that's on here, White Tiger, but it can get you sidekicks in the field. I guess to trigger the Green Devil Mask at will would be pretty good. Green Devil Mask is a great common from the new Tomb of Annihilation set that forces a full reroll on your opponent's side of the board once they hit 4 characters or more. Into the game, it is my opponent's turn. He is going to roll up 4 dice since he is going second. He's going to roll up 4 dice, going to look to buy. Let's see what he chooses to buy here. Yuan-Ti would be good, and then some Pseudo Dragon action to set up some ramp. Looks like that's what he's going to go for. No, he's going to, yes, that is exactly what he's going to go for. Paying 2 for a Pseudo Dragon and 2 for a Yuan-Ti. Is it Yuan-Ti or Yuan-Ti? I have no idea. Either way, back over to me. And obviously we played this online, so forgive me if the quality at any point suffers. This was recorded in a Google Hangouts session. So I have 4 energy here, 1 mask, and 3 other energy, 2 fists and a bolt. Here we want to pick up a mimic. Gonna reroll, get 2 bolts and 1 fist. So buying a mimic is great. Having another sidekick there would have been good as well, but it wouldn't trigger it yet anyway, so not a big deal. And from there, we're just going to pass on. If we can get a second sidekick, then we can also pull a sidekick from the used, lowering our bag count, which is always good. My opponent rolls. He gets 4 energy. Shield, bolt, fist, mask. He can buy a crossover character, one of those what ifs. He could buy a what if right now. Looks like he's going to pick up a Pseudo Dragon. So he's got 2 there in the used. What to do with the rest of this? Neither of us have a bag prep minus the resurrection. It looks like he is going to resurrect. Resurrecting. And that's going to leave him 1 bolt, with which he's probably not going to use. It's probably just going to end up burning at the start of his turn. So preps a sidekick, and it's back over to me. My sidekick here is going to burn, and we're going to scoop and draw. Let's see what we get. Obviously, the best draw here would be to pull a mimic, and we don't. We have Jubilee, though. So the clear goal in this turn is to set Jubilee onto the field, but this is an interesting roll as well. We could use her as a purchasing engine. Fielding multiple sidekicks lowers our bag count. But again, we have a lot of combo pieces to purchase. We need 2 Jubilees, maybe 3. We need 1 of those Lady Deadpools. We need a couple of cubes. We definitely need the trigger with great power. So there's stuff to buy, certainly. Fielding Jubilee at this point is not super necessary, especially because I can't use her as a blocker because his goal is to just get out a bunch of unblockable stuff. I'm going to re-roll her anyway. She comes up on the character face, so we can get her out. but it's going to mean buying is not happening this turn, and that's fine. So we're going to resurrect one die out of the bag after fielding her. She's on her 1/3/3 side. That's her level 2 side, so she can spin up once. And if I do get that to happen, then our opponent will take 1 damage. So Yuan-Ti comes out. Looks like she rolls. Looks like the 1/3/3 side. He's also got 4 energy to play with. A lot in the bag for him. He's got 2 pseudo dragons, and actually that's about it. 2 pseudo dragons, and he's gonna have a bunch of white dice go in on his next turn. Purchasing wise, looks like he's going to scoop up a Boom Boom. It's interesting because he doesn't actually have any actions yet, but he can certainly get her out in the field, get her going. Yuan-Ti's going to come out. Nothing to trigger her ability, so no need to push, just the 1 character. I could chump block with one of my sidekicks, so no attack. Makes the most sense after he preps a pseudo dragon. So back over to my turn, gonna add the 1 sidekick that was in prep to the pull that I got, and so Mimic's coming out, and he rolls on his 1/1/1 side. He has bad fielding costs across the board, but and bad stats overall, but his goal is to copy stats, so having bad stats is not the worst thing in the world. He is going to copy the 1/1 stat line, so running up against something like Magic Missile or what's the other one? Unstable Canister that pings for damage doesn't play well with him. Wow, 2 sidekicks. This is an interesting turn because we are going to field and pay for him, but we can't buy anything, but we can ramp the entirety of our bag. We're going to Merlin Global 1 sidekick to pay for the fielding. Merlin's going to copy the stats of that sidekick right there. Then we are going to, we could buy another Jubilee. Nothing in the bag currently, so the order here doesn't matter. We could buy first or buy second. We're going to field the sidekick first. Those will just move right over into prep, and no matter what I buy here, Jubilee or nothing, I think it's only Jubilee is the option, or a cube. I could buy a cube. It will get rolled next turn because we have nothing in the bag. So rolling 6 dice next turn is really, really good. Back to our opponent. He is going to scoop and reload his bag. He's got 2 pseudo dragons, which is very good for him because fielding either or both of those means he draws an extra 4 dice from his bag, which is something he needs to do because his bag is a little heavy with sidekicks. One of them comes up. The other one is a 1 mask. 2 bolts and a mask to go along with that. Gonna scoop and re-roll. And both come up, so he's gonna be able to draw 4 and roll 4. He does have to pay to field those, it would appear. All right, so let's see what he chooses to do. Gonna earmark that fist to field the pseudo dragon. First off, he's gonna buy another Boom Boom, which is interesting because her ability is a while active ability, making her less effective when you have more of her dice. So he's fielding, drawing, and rolling. Actually, it's only drawing and rolling 1, excuse me. I said 2 before. Only drawing and rolling 1 because he only has 1 attune character die in the field. So drawing and rolling a second. And we get a Boom Boom, but that looks like it comes up on the 2 fielding cost side, which is unfortunate, meaning that will burn alongside the shield. The shield he can use to resurrect, which is always good. So resing a sidekick out of the bag is helpful, certainly. And after this, at this point for him, he's going to have 1, 2, 3, 3 sidekicks in the bag. He's going to have 4 sidekicks and 2 Boom Booms go in. So having an action die here would probably be better for him than having a second Boom Boom. So rolling up on my side after he passes, chooses not to attack. Jubilee comes up on the 2 bolt side, which is actually not bad because we could here just buy a Lady Deadpool, which is yet another piece of this huge combo. And she's not necessary, but she makes things go a lot faster. So buying her and then fielding 1 sidekick means we prep some more stuff. In fact, I think that means we prep her. Rerolling Jubilee, though, we're going to want to get Jubilee out. I think it's better to probably buy... When you have the 5 energy, it's probably better to just buy. Fielding Jubilee on the 2/1 side for free, though, is always good. The other play here, and this one makes sense as well, is buying the combo piece, because she can still deal damage. Jubilee can still spin up, and even without a cube and even without fielding a sidekick there, even without Lady Deadpool as well. So damage can still be done. The shield here is a misplay. I could spin a sidekick down and buy a cube now. That would be a good play, because there's nothing in the bag, so the shield can't res anything. Choosing to pass, though, keeping the sidekick in the field, so guaranteeing that I'm rolling 4 dice instead of putting 1 in the bag and rolling the others. I think that turn probably should have been played differently. I think it would have been better to just buy the 5 cost there, rather than going through the rigmarole of wasting a shield, essentially. So Boom Boom comes up, and so does a sidekick, along with 3 energy of various types, 2 masks, 1 fist. Another sidekick comes up and a bolt this time, so he's got 2 energy to play around with. He could buy a cube here. And again, this is the uncommon cube, so it's not dealing extra damage. It is fishing for discounts on True Believer, on Green Devil Mask, the things. So fielding out Boom Boom. We've also got a sidekick here. Looks like he's probably going to field that. About buying either True Believer or Cube, and with Cube. Cube makes sense. It's going to get him a better return on investment later on. And I'm not really applying any pressure, so playing the long game is okay. It's got a good, decent-sized field. I would like to see the attack from the Pseudo-Dragon, because you kind of want to cycle those Pseudo-Dragons to continue your ramp. Getting 1 trigger off of both of them is suboptimal. And yes, I can chump block, but it means I'm forced to field a bunch more stuff and roll through a bunch more dice and hope to get sidekicks. So here we have the action face on with great power. It's going to spin up all of my character dice in the field zone. Obviously, sidekicks can't spin up, but it is going to deal 2 damage when I play that. That's always good. Fielding another sidekick is a little unnecessary because I only have the dice that are in my reserve pool that are cycling through. So I'm going to spin that sidekick to a bolt and pay 4 to pick up 2 cubes. And then I'm going to play the with great power, it would appear. And this will put 7 dice into my bag. So I'll lose a little bit of that ramp. The other option there would have been to try to reroll for a shield. This is going to ping him for 2, by the way. Trying to reroll for a shield means that I can buy 1 cube and prep it instead of buying 2 cubes and filling the bag. My bag would have missed there no matter what, but it is what it is. So dealing 2 damage, starting to deal some damage is good, especially as he's buying some actions now. So his damage is going to come fast and furious from this point forward, I would imagine. 2 shields, 2 fists. Rerolling, getting a mask and a fist. 2 shields, a mask, and a fist. Going to pay 4. It would appear. He's going to buy a Green Devil Mask. This is a great die and a great purchase against my team. My team's looking to just stay out on the field and wait for the combo to hit and cycle back around and hit again. So the moment he plays Green Devil Mask onto the field, all of my stuff gets re-rolled. Those sidekicks go away most likely. 1 in 6 for them to stay is very unlikely, and my character faces have 50/50s on staying or going, and all of it goes to the used pile. The 2 cubes here, the 2 cube pulls, are really, really terrible because those cubes will do nothing. I don't have a global activator for my Jubilees. I have to wait for a cube to line up with great power, which is why bag cycling is super important, or bag control is super important, because I want to guarantee everything lining up at the same time. So having the cubes on their cube phases is really, really bad. We want them on bolts like that. And here's another option or another time to buy the Lady Deadpool. It doesn't provide us any ramp whatsoever. So that's the unfortunate part, but it is a one purchase. It's a one die purchase. I'm not loading up my bag with even more stuff. So I at least have that going for me. The other option is to spin a sidekick down to gain that 5th energy and then use Resurrection to pull a die from the bag, but that seems suboptimal as well, because that's just going to put a die. That's going to put 2 dice in the bag versus putting 1 die in the bag. Or 1 die in circulation versus 2 dice in circulation. I'd rather have the sidekick out on the field zone, staying out of the bag. So another Boom Boom comes out. And again, the redundancy of 2 Boom Booms versus 1. If that were an action die instead, that would look a lot better at this point, because the Boom Boom would trigger and deal damage. No action pulls, 3 sidekicks. He rolls 1 of the sidekicks as a sidekick, 2 energy alongside the Boom Boom. Boom Boom's on her 1 fielding cost side. So he's going to pay to field that, I would imagine. And again, I would like to see some attacking from his perspective. Putting any sort of pressure on a combo team is always good. Forcing someone to block with their combo pieces means that they have less likelihood of setting it up and just burning you out with it. So he's going to reroll a sidekick instead of fielding it, going to pay. Let's see if he pays a bolt or if he pays a mask. Going to pay the mask to field there. He's got 2 energy left over, going to buy a 2nd cube. No, excuse me, he's buying a True Believer, which gives your attached, or you assign a die. It gives a die, +2/+1. Popping that onto Yanti is really, really good because she's unblockable when you play an action, and then you give her +2 attack. So here we have the spin up mechanic again, but we don't have any buffing from the Cosmic Cube. So we'll be able to deal some damage. We do have to spin down the 4/3 side. I believe that's one of those is on that 4/3 side. Or maybe they're both on the level 2 side. Nevertheless, we have a sidekick to field and prep our dice with. We've got 2 energy to spin our guys down, which is good. Our Jubilee's down. And then just play the action. That seems like the logical turn order. See what we choose to do. Gonna scoop and re-roll. That's interesting. Why not take the 2 damage? Do we want something different? More sidekicks makes no sense. That's an interesting play. Do we want 2 energy, I guess, to buy more cubes? Or to buy a 2nd with great power. I could see that as a possibility. So going to field the sidekick, prepping 2 dice, so we see Lady Deadpool's there and waiting. Going to spin up and deal 2 damage. Looks like both of those are now on level 3. And so does the Mimic. The Mimic doesn't matter that much because the stats are copied on that sidekick, so whatever side it's on doesn't really matter. And then 2 shields sitting there. I would imagine the best play would be to pay to lower our two Jubilees again. Oh, spinning a sidekick, buying a 2nd with great power. That's another good play. I could see that too. It does mean that I have to spend 2 energy on a later turn in order to put both of those Jubilees into awaken range. If they're both topped out, neither of them can awaken. Oh, we have Green Devil Mask making an appearance, so this could be a huge blow to our team. So maybe it is a better play, knowing that Green Devil Mask was coming out either next turn or a turn after. Let's see if it lands. So not paying to spin up and instead getting one of those. Oh man, that's going to be bad. Getting one of those with great powers is not a bad choice. So the moment he fields that, we're going to pop back over to my side, and everything's going to be forced to be re-rolled. So he plays that, and that's going to trigger. The moment a trap comes out, if the trigger has already been met, it triggers immediately. So everything on my side of the field is going to get re-rolled. So we can say goodbye to most of that board, I would imagine. Sidekicks, definitely. So all the characters stay up. And in fact, one of the Jubilees shifts down, the Mimic stays, and all those sidekicks go away, and those 4 dice go to used. So it does really, really up my bag count. In fact, it looks like it was a great buy to buy with great power, because we're going to pull the 2 cubes out of the bag, and if we can draw one or two of those with great powers, one of the two of the with great powers, then we're going to have some serious damage next turn. So he played an action which makes his Yuan-Ti unblockable, and I should have gotten pinged for 1, which I should have gotten pinged for 2. No, it wasn't a basic action. So so Boom Boom does not trigger because she only triggers on basic actions. He chooses not to attack with the Yuan-Ti. I guess he's waiting for a True Believer. Again, I think it's best to pressure, pressure, pressure as much as possible. So we have 2 of the pieces here, and we have both cubes, but neither of the cubes are on their faces. We have exactly what we need to spin down our 1 Jubilee and to pay the bolt to trigger a 3rd cube. This is a really, really big turn if we can get some of these cubes to roll up. In fact, if both roll up, we got some serious damage. So the question mark will act as a bolt. The fist will spin down the Jubilee, and then we just got to hope for... Oh, if that becomes a side... It becomes a sidekick, doesn't actually matter. Oh, both cubes come up. So here we go. The combo finally lands. It took a while. So fielding for free, which is really, really nice, on the 3/3 side is the Lady Deadpool. We're going to play a cube. It's going to up all the damage by 2. Play another cube. That's also going to up the damage by 2. When we play the second cube, we're going to pay a bolt to use a 3rd copy of cube. Then we are going to spin down the Jubilee to level 2. Going to play the With Great Power. That's going to spin everything up 1 level. And before we even go through that whole shindig, let's go ahead and calculate damage. So it's going to be 1 damage from each Jubilee plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So 7, so 14 total. Each Jubilee does 7 damage thanks to the 3 cubes being played, dealing 14. Unfortunately, he has enough blockers to block if I pushed out, but that's going to knock him down to 2, which means all I really need next turn is just 1 of the With Great Powers and 2 energy. So some huge damage. That was a really, really cool turn. Popping back over to him, I'm at 19. But he does have the ability to go unblockable with one of his characters. He has the ability to ping all over the place with a bunch of actions. But essentially, he has to kill me this turn. Otherwise, game 1 goes to me because there's a extremely high likelihood that I just find 2 energy and the 1 With Great Power left in the bag. So here's some actions, though. One of them is a basic action, so that'll ping with Boom Boom if that comes up. And then the cube will, both will trigger the Attune ability on Yuan-Ti, and will make her unblockable. And we get the, oh wow. So we get the True Believer. That's going to buff the Yuan-Ti by 2, so that's a 5 attack Yuan-Ti. And when he uses that, that'll be an Attune trigger. And the cube does come up on the reroll as well. So the True Believer will ping for 1, no, will ping for 2 from, my gosh, so much stuff. The True Believer will ping for 2 from Boom Boom. It'll ping for 1 from Yuan-Ti. And then it will attach itself to Yuan-Ti and buff her by 2. And then the cube will also ping. So I'll take 9 here. And there's nothing I can do about any of it. It's all just unblockable, uncontrollable, unmitigatable. So I take the 1 from the Attune there, from him playing cube, and he buys all that other stuff. So he's going to attach here, and this is a basic action, so I will take 2 plus 1 is 3 from the Attune and the Boom Boom. And then that will push for 5 damage. And that will knock me down to 10. If I did the math right. Looks like I did the math right. That is some stuff, man. See, and again, if he would have pushed some damage earlier, then I could be nearly dead here. I did have a lot in the field to block with, so it's up for debate. So all I got to do is roll the action face and 2 energy to spin those both down and spin them up. So I missed the action face here. Energy here does not really matter. Rerolling, those two is fine, because if I get a sidekick, then I do get the Mimic Ramp, and that gets me closer to the second with great power and some cubes. Scooping it all and rerolling. All we're looking for really is that action. There's the action face. So all I have to do is pay 2 to spin down, and then just play the action, and that'll deal the final 2 damage. So game 1 in the books, that's going to it's going to spin those 2 up, and that'll be a win in game number 1. That was a really, really cool game number 1, and it's a cool little combo too. Takes some setup. As you can see, this is a lot more casual friendly, a lot more just in general friendly for that for this format. But very, very cool first game. So let's go ahead and jump into game number 2. Thanks for watching.